All right, should we get going?
Yes.
All right, let's do this. Okay. We've got a little Halloween setup, which I like.
Wait, you didn't boop the timer.
Well, I thought there'd be like 30 seconds.
No,
to a
remember
minute.
that's the thing. This is our whole thing. It's 30 minutes, and then we click it.
Okay.
And then I'll explain.
Hold on. Where?
Oh no.
The wrong button. Hold on.
See.
I thought that was the play button. Do you just tap the thing? See, no. Oh, maybe I missed it. And then it has the long. There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
No, because remember that we have 30 minutes to respect people's time, and we have the first 5 for you to like make chit chat.
Okay. Why is it me make chit chat?
Well, of the two of us.
I know
when
I'm
you
the
say you're the
chattier
chattier.
Kathy, but like, what do you think I'm going to do? Just sit here and chat by myself?
We do have Halloween set up.
Yes.
So this is Fred. This tree with the orange lights, and he gets decorated. He was decorated for Christmas last year, and now he gets these nice Halloween lights, and he likes it.
He's kind of been inspired by the recent strikes, and he's asking for a step up from just a guest star status.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it is just me making chit chat for the first 5 minutes.
That just took me. I follow. Okay.
Was it?
I don't know. I guess I just wasn't thinking a tree and a guest star.
Well, I mean, it's not like. It's weird enough that the tree has a name.
The pregnant pause. It's not weird. They all have names.
Well, yeah, we do.
Do you guys not name your trees, your plants? We don't name the fake ones.
Right, they're not deserving of those.
No, we do have 2 fakies. Okay, no, I actually have an update before we get into it.
Okay.
Because I was thinking last week, or maybe it was the week before, we talked about digital tools.
Yes.
And whether they're a help or a hinder.
Yes.
And I think we came away with like mostly it's a mixed bag. But this...
Would it be a mixed digital tool bag?
Oh, God. Yes, but I would say that this past week, it has changed. And they have been a huge, huge help.
Wait, so digital tools have become a huge help.
I feel like, I don't know if maybe there's just like a seasons, whereas... like sometimes I'm really craving like the notebook, and it feels like digital tools like Notion, I'm thinking of specifically. For a long time I used Notion. Then I felt like Notion was just majorly complicating everything unnecessarily. And I ditched it for at least a year.
Yeah, you were anti-Notion for a bit.
I was anti-Notion. I was very pro-Notion, and then I was anti. And now I'm like in between, because the things I didn't like about Notion, I still don't like. But yeah, it's been kind of saving me this week. Plus ClickUp, I've been into that. And yeah, it's just, I feel like those tools, I was a bundle of stress for most of September. And I feel like this last week, I was like, you know what? Current system's not working. What else can we do? Brought in things like project managers and databases and just getting a little bit more organized. And it's been very helpful. So I have that's an addendum or amendment to last week's episode.
Okay. So used in the right places or for the right applications.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Oh my gosh. Used in the right applications, those applications can be a good thing.
Yeah. I think maybe the key then, and we'll see how this goes, because who knows, maybe next week I'll be like, I hate Notion, I hate tools. But I think the general, I think it's just a matter of making sure you're using them when you need to use them in the right way and not using them for the sake of them, which is what I sometimes fall into, because I'll start a system and then I'm like, well, I have to stick with the system. And at some point, I realize that it's more about the system itself than it is actually getting stuff done. But in this case, just because I do have it feels like I have a bunch of really big things on my plate that I wasn't able to just use the bullet journal and to-do list and things, the simple things that I've done before.
Right.
I needed something a little more robust, and it did help me quite a bit.
Nice.
So I feel like I needed to defend digital tools.
Oh, I think
given just this past week.
Yeah, you're allowed to change your mind with new information. I think that's.
Thank you, Anthony, for that permission. No, that wasn't meant to be rude.
Oh, I thought you were.
No, I was kind of joking.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah.
I'm getting a look. Those of you not watching, I'm getting a death look.
I've spoken with people who have said like, "Oh, thanks for the permission to do that."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had a conversation with somebody, and like there was a disagreement. It was in a public forum, and she said the answer, and then I said, "Oh yeah, I think you're right," and she's like, "I know I'm right."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, you are a tool."
A tool, not a digital tool. Yeah. Not one of the good digital tools.
No. Anyway, all right. Should we get to a question?
Yeah, because we only have 30 seconds before the cutoff. Where we have to start the question.
Okay,
yeah.
ready? Are you picking or am I picking?
Oh, I can't remember. I'm going to pick.
Go ahead.
I'm going to pick. We should keep better track of that. Okay, yay. It's one of mine. So easy to read. Ooh. Do you believe in the Muse? Capital T, capital M. The Muse. Proper noun. We don't need to explain what Muse is, right? The Muse is as we're explaining this. Okay.
Although I think I mean, I'm going first since you read.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
First.
No, I'm thinking.
I don't
pondering.
think the Muse. I don't believe in like the. And actually, I don't even know if they did. I don't believe in like the Greek. Was it originally Greek with the Muses?
I think so.
Okay. I don't believe in the Greek version of the Muse, where it's like it's a thing, it's a human, or not a human, but like a god or a lesser god. I don't know, a deity.
Yeah,
I don't know what they were
remember.
called back then, but like it wasn't. Did they live on Olympus? I don't know, or did they like flutter around?
I don't remember now.
Like like the
I feel like we
fates
used to know the story of the Muses.
I feel like we did too, but we don't now. But anyway, who knows? Maybe they were also personifying this idea.
Yeah.
But I believe in like this personification of the thing of creativity, where like I try to show up every day, be in my chair to write, or couch or wherever I can to like write. And sometimes I feel very inspired. Other times it is pulling teeth. But
Yeah.
I think I was actually having a conversation about this last night with a comic where it's like, well, sometimes you just don't feel like writing. And that's true, but you also don't know when you will or will not feel like writing, or when the Muse is going to be present
Very
and visit
true.
you and bless you. So you might as well sit the heck down and be ready in case she does show up.
Yes.
So I believe in it like that sense. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. No, and this is going to sound kind of like an echo of that, but I actually sometimes, I both love and hate the advice, and it's classic, and I've definitely given this advice before, of you just have to put your butt in the chair and work like that. And that is true. That's the only way. Like you're going to, like if you want to be a artist of any kind and actually finish something, you are going to have to force yourself to do it when you don't feel like it. But that being said, there are times when I actually kind of want to sit in the chair and I'm like mentally, I am fully ready to write or create something, I think, and I sit down and it just feels like there is nothing. Like it's like I want to be here, like I'm I'm ready, and then I mean those are the times where I'm like, man, the Muse isn't here. Like, and I think of her as the stereotypical like the female,
Right.
yeah, I'm like she's not there. And then other times, and this comes to mind with, I guess was it earlier this last year? Maybe it was last year. But I was not in a writing place. Like so I was actively not writing.
Right.
Wasn't sure I ever wanted to write again, and I felt pretty confident in that. Like I was just like, nope, I don't want to. And an idea, which I haven't announced yet, so don't say what it is. Miranda, this is the idea. That's my working title. Would not let go. Like it was just like, I swear I was like dreaming about it. Like every day I'm like, I don't want to write. I don't feel like writing this. But it just came up enough to the point I was like, I think I'm freaking supposed to write this book. And that's, obviously telling agent and spoiler, I am writing the book. But the point is like, that wasn't me. That was not what's my next book idea going to be. Let's sit down with the idea notebook and come up with something. I don't feel like it. And the Muse said, yeah, we're going to do this anyway. So yeah, I totally believe in the Muse. I don't think I used to, but I think the more I do this, the more I feel like there is, maybe it's Big Magic.
Yeah.
Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Real quick, T.
Yeah.
Did she use a pad?
Yeah.
Was there one in the bedroom?
No.
Oh, there wasn't. Okay,
No.
good. That's fine then. She came back in and was just looking around. I'm talking about our dog, not like any other animal or human. Okay, so
I think she's hungry.
Oh, okay. I have thoughts on the whole sit down and be ready in case she does show up idea, where I think you were saying you don't like those times as much, or you're relaxing your view. Am I right in rephrasing that you said you're kind of relaxing your view on that you need to be there, show up every day in case she does show up?
Yep.
Okay.
A little bit. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm tentatively saying maybe. I think so.
Well, at least I'm painting you out as a straw man because I need something to.
Yeah. Okay. Go.
But I actually
I don't know
think
what that means. Straw man.
it's not a real. It's usually a straw man argument. Is you almost kind of like create it's almost like putting words in the opposition's mouth to say like, well, my opponent says what my opponent is basically saying is this, and it's not really what your opponent was saying, but you create this fake argument so that you can torch it easily.
Okay.
And so yeah, this is kind of, anyway, I'm strawmanning you here, but I actually think I appreciate those times when she's not there. 'Cause it is like pulling teeth, but that reminds me that this is work and it's hard, but sometimes the stuff that I hate might actually be pretty good. I mean, I have no examples of that whatsoever, but I feel like there are times when I've created something or written a joke or something, and I haven't really enjoyed the process of crafting it, but it works.
Yeah.
And then the joke becomes like, okay, I can use this thing now. Even though it didn't come to me in some flashbulb moment, it's like I had to pull it myself out of the ether.
Well, I think the muse can still be there and it can still be miserable. Like, those days where you're like, yeah, okay, I'm here and I am writing and the words are coming. I just don't like it.
She's on her period watching Bones on the couch or something, eating Cheetos and just screaming ideas at you.
I feel like my muse, like I guess there are like there's flow state every now and then you get like a gift from the muse where it's a day you're like, oh my goodness, like 2 hours passed already and I passed my goal. But that happens like hardly ever. That I think that is probably when she's having a good day.
Yeah, a light flow for her would be a heavy flow for us. This is a weird
it took a turn.
Combination. Bloody mess over here. Yeah, so I don't know. I totally believe in her. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of, I don't know if I go, I enjoy, who is it? Stephen Pressfield in The War of Art. I like how he's got his process where every day he puts on the same jacket or something. He turns his little cannon that like a little trinket that somebody gave him. It's a cannon. He turns it to himself to imagine like shooting ideas at him. He's got his thing. And I think that can actually be beneficial for some people. Maybe I should try it a little more often. But, it's like so that it's almost like everything else is on autopilot in your life so that your brain can engage fully into.
Yeah, it's almost like you have to like set up a space for the muse to arrive.
Yes.
And like for me that I know, and everybody works differently. I know some people love a messy desk. For me, like if my desk is messy, it's hard, let's be honest, it's hardly ever messy. But like, in theory, if like a little like notebook isn't like lined up perfectly, or if the pens are everywhere, or just, if I need to dust, I don't think the muse comes when my desk is dusty.
Well, yeah, maybe for you, actually, like for me, it's almost the opposite, where it sounds like for you, you get distracted by the mess. Mm-hmm. And it's like the muse is like, no, I can't even.
We can't work like this.
Whereas my muse, I think, is a little more ADD-ish, where she's kind of like, oh, it's on that paper.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, yeah, that was a good paper. Oh, she's got some great ideas here. What's going on? And so it's almost like having some sort of visual stimulation so that I can distract my brain for a second. Like, oh, what's that? I need to put that away. Oh, that reminds me of this joke about cleaning or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that.
But then then it's a little bit of work to focus in. Mm-hmm. But that's where Endel is coming in handy.
Oh, Endel sounds like a sponsor. We're not sponsored by Endel.
No, but if they wanted to.
Is it Endel or is it Endel?
Was there a difference in what you said?
So you say it.
Endel.
Yeah, you say Endel. I think I would say Endel.
You'd say Endel.
I think. Well, now yours sounds better. Whatever. Endel.
I have the accent on the N and D.
Yeah. We'll have to look that up later. But Endel is I don't even know what to call it. It's
a digital tool.
It's a digital tool. Yeah, it's an app, but you can also just like go to the website and play it through the website. Does that make it an app? Whatever. It's basically like this science-backed, it's noise essentially, not music, although there's some like elements.
Yeah.
And you help me out here.
Well, it's
I'm wondering. I introduced him to it and I have no idea how to explain it.
Well, it's more like it's not white noise because that's just random. Mm-hmm. It's structured background noise. So I would actually say it is kind of music in a sense that there's a constant rhythm. They have like kind of drums or some sort of percussion going, but there's no melody. There's just kind of noises on top of
Wait,
that.
I have a question.
Yes.
You just said music. Does the word music come from muse? It must. Is that the same root word?
I don't know.
Huh.
That's a great question.
We'll have to revisit that later. Okay, but yeah, you're right there because there's a lot of percussion noises, and at least if you have like the premium account, and I'm a big fan, you can add in like nature noises, but it's different than just like a playlist that like plays rain noises. Like we've all done those and they're lovely, but this is, it really is kind of just like magical because they have different modes. So you can go into like the default one that they recommend is deep work. So it's basically like that's what we put on when it's time to do the hard work.
Right.
When the music is maybe not there, but we need to do it anyway. You put on deep work, and it puts you into the trance. It's the strangest thing.
I remember. Well, you've been using it for a little while now, and I just tried it out for the first time this week. And I remember putting on the headphones, starting the timer, and all of a sudden the music was over, and I think 2 days had passed. Like it felt like I was like, oh, what day is it?
Yeah.
I didn't even know how the hell that happened.
Well, so we know then that the Muse really likes Endel.
Maybe, yeah.
It's like that, and then she's like, oh yeah, let's go.
Endel is like catnip for muses.
Yeah, I think that is accurate.
It's like you put on headphones, you're rolling the paper, you fill it up, and you're like, hey, smoke this, Musey. And she's like, well, I just maybe have a puff. And then she ends up just rambling ideas at you, and it's so helpful.
Yeah, so it sounds like a bunch of woo-woo. Like if you look and you're like, oh, like certain noises, science says can help you focus more. And I was like, yeah, right. But it's definitely seems to be the case. When I put that on, it's like I go to a different place or I just zone in on whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know that they have the science thing and they've got that flow, back to flow. They've got the flow guy that endorses it meekly, whatever, something. But I don't know about that, but I do know, I just like the fact that when you have that like rhythm without a specific melody, like it's not like a song that you know that's going to end. It's like never ending, but it's musical enough or structured enough where my brain can kind of like latch on to it and kind of like get into a little bit of a groove. It's almost like, I think I was telling you this the other day, it distracts like the front of my brain, the one that's like, well, we need to take out the trash, or does Bailey need some more food? Like it distracts that guy so that all of a sudden the rest of my brain can kind of start working on things.
Yeah, it frees up like the other, it shuts one door so that another can open kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
The one where the Muse lives.
Right.
Opens up that door. All right, so back to the Muse and back to Big Magic, which is a book we referenced earlier. Highly recommend. Do you believe then
we'll put the link in the description to the book.
Yes. Do you believe in Elizabeth Gilbert's, like she's a big believer, excuse me, in the Muse, but she also thinks that there are, like I don't want to like misrepresent, but like she kind of has this idea that there are like ideas, like literally ideas like out in the universe, and like we're meant for some of them at a certain time, and that if we don't act on it, then that idea essentially goes to, it can move on, like it can leave us.
Do I believe in that?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I think, I don't believe, actually, I think that phenomenon does exist, but in a way less magical sense. I think it's much more about each of us are humans operating in a social network of other humans, and there's certain things that are zeitgeisty, and there are certain things that maybe are less so, but they're still kind of bubbling around like ideas, and we're not unique enough that like, oh my God, this is my original idea. There's 8 billion of us on this planet. There's probably a few more people, or at least there's enough people that have maybe lived a similar-ish enough experience.
But isn't that kind of her, unless I'm like misremembering, it's been a few years, but isn't that kind of her point, is like none of it is really our ideas? Like ideas are their own being, their own thing.
Yeah, I think
we're just the vessels at it, you know?
Yeah.
Isn't that what she's saying?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I guess I'm taking a more scientific approach to it and less magic.
Okay.
Like in the same way that the Greeks believe Zeus controlled lightning, we now know what controls lightning.
Or do we?
The Jews. No, yeah, but it's like we've taken the name away from Zeus and now we've applied it to, static electricity. So we have a definition now, or a way to explain what Zeus was.
Okay.
And so I think she's
so
taken.
You don't think there's so you think, like I would separate then lightning from ideas. I think lightning.
Sure.
Of course, we can explain it by science.
Yes.
Don't ask me to, but I know that can be explained by science. But ideas, and I think there is that those are the more mystical woo-woo, for lack of a better term. Like I don't know that I can put ideas. I don't know how to apply science to ideas, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, is there a...
Well, I don't know if anyone...
They're magical.
I mean, I think science is continuing to creep in or rather science is continuing to chip away at magic, to use these similar terms. And while in the Gilbertian world, ideas are still considered magic, and again, we're putting words in her mouth, but like those ideas are still considered magic to her. I would say that there's probably a reasonable a scientific explanation for how we're able to get an idea, and if we don't seize it, then it might go to somebody else. I think, yeah. Well, in the same way, like
spooky action at a distance.
Right, Einstein. Yeah. It is kind of. I mean, sure, it is. If we can't explain it right now, so it seems.
But you
magic.
think it can be explained?
I think it can eventually.
Well, it's kind of like the episode in Fringe. Doesn't he think that there's human? I'm gonna mess this up, but like human consciousness, like it could be like connected somehow. I know it's fringe science; is like the whole point of it.
Oh, yeah, I think there was an episode. Yeah.
Or maybe he just referenced it. He being Walter, main character from Fringe.
Yes. Human consciousness, we can attach. We're
pretty
all
good, Walter.
Connected somehow. I'm trying to do the English accent or American accent by an Australian, but also kind of a weird professory.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, you're right, because he's Australian, but he's got a British... his character's...
He's American, though, right? But
the character's American, yeah.
Yeah. But he's got kind of like a weird...
He has interesting diction. Anyway.
Yes.
How do I get on that? Oh, yeah, Fringe.
Right.
But yeah, I thought there was... And the whole idea with Fringe is like it's a department of the FBI that looks into fringe science things, like the kind of out there stuff that we think could be science, maybe, but it's probably not.
Right. It's like X-Files with less alien and more science.
Correct. Right. So that's a good show. Read Big Magic, watch Fringe. Those are two recommendations.
Those are two recommendations. Wait, did I ask you? So you believe, though, you're more the magic.
Well, I think so. Camp. I don't know. I probably would have said no. Well, I don't know if I really thought about it, but I probably would have said no before we listened to Big Magic. But most of what she said in Big Magic resonated with me, where I was like, yeah, it does kind of feel like that. So maybe you're right. Maybe there is some sort of element, but I just know that when it comes to specifically to writing as a creative endeavor, that feels like it comes the hard work part. That is, that's my system. So that's me having Notion and an outline and a daily word count and sitting down when I don't want to. All of that, I think, is a little bit more internal. But the ideas themselves, they seem like they come from outside of me.
Yeah.
Well, but now, okay, not all of them, because I can think of some books, one of the most annoying questions that writers get is, where do you get your ideas? And most of the time, I think most authors be like, I have no idea. But there are a couple where I absolutely know where I got that idea. I remember the moment where I got the idea. So perhaps in these other instances, perhaps I'm just not remembering where I got the idea. Or maybe it came, maybe it was something that happened 8 years ago.
Yeah.
That I watched in a, Friends episode, and just, 8 years later was like, oh yeah, it's just now bubbling. But I guess that's magical too. Still big magic.
Oh yeah. I think I think it's still an amazing phenomenon that happens. Mm-hmm. I kind of liken it to, actually, I think there's a couple ways you can look at it. Maybe the Gilbert way is more akin to saying your creative your brain, let's just say, is almost like the ideas are being broadcast via radio waves.
Yeah.
And your brain is an antenna.
Yeah.
And it can kind of receive signals if you tuned into the right station. And I think she might say that's closer to what her idea is in terms of the magic. But I think you could also say that maybe I don't know, I'm trying to think of a different analogy real quick here, but instead of radio waves and a radio receiver, it's all these all sorts of information is being dumped into our brains. It's basically hoovering up all this info for the past 40 years, and maybe one idea just happens to percolate up at whatever time, and you're like, oh, that's a good idea. Like, I don't know where that came from. It seems like it came from outside, but your brain's been processing all this stuff.
Yeah, that's true. And especially when you take into account going to science again, it seems like we know that there is so much that the human brain can do that we don't know, right? Like, isn't that kind of a given? Is like we're only using X% of brain power. So yeah, maybe the Muse lives in one of those untapped areas.
Well, but then also it's like, well, why do some ideas happen at the same time? Like I was on Instagram the other day and I saw, like, I've been working on this bit about couples massages, and I was on Richie Redding's Instagram and I saw he has a joke about couples massages. I'm like, how weird is that? But it's also not that weird because we're both married guys who have probably gotten a couples massage or know the idea of one, and we're like, this is stupid.
Well, yeah. So then, though, is it in the case of that joke, is it that the couples massage idea was out there, the radio wave, and you guys were both tuned to the right?
Could be
at the same time, or is it because, like to your point, because you guys are maybe have something similar-ish in your lifestyle, you were exposed to a piece of information recently that made you think of that?
Yeah, that could be true too. We're both of us we're married, no kids, dog. Like both have dogs, and yeah, I don't know.
Or is it just coincidence?
It could just be coincidence. You never know.
Although I feel like that's a thing, at least like in the fiction writing world, where all of a sudden it's there will be like a book that comes out, and then everybody's like, man, and then you kind of like everybody else feels like a copycat, but like they at the time that they were doing it, it felt like nobody had done it before, and there seems to be always just these little like bubbles of ideas.
Yes,
which is interesting.
That's actually, maybe this is a topic for another day, but that's, I think, part of the fun and the challenge of being a creative is coming up with what you think is original material.
Well, and this is totally another topic, and I bet we have it in our little jar here. Originality, like, is there even a such thing?
Right.
But I'm going back one second because it just came to mind. Remember, I can't remember. It was probably like 10 years ago. Phelan.
Yeah.
Because I was super passionate about this young adult story series about basically girl who finds out that fairy tales are real, and she goes to like this fairy tale land. Anyway, so I'm working on this. I'm so excited about it. I'm like truly passionate. I think it if I would have like leaned in, it could have been something. But just as I'm like finishing this up, like figuring out how to like package it and pitch it to agents, this is before I had my current agent. What is the show? Once Upon a Time. Came out. Right. And it really, I mean, like that is a little bit different. Like it's reversed slightly, but it's a normal woman who finds out that fairy tale characters are real, only they come to her, like cross over to her world. It was literally my exact idea, just like slightly reversed. And no matter how I could like move forward with Phelan, it always felt like it was, because that show was a huge hit. It went on for like 10 years, maybe not 10 years, but it went on for a while.
Right.
And it felt like there was no way that I was ever going to be able to get out from that shadow, and everybody thinking like, then it's like Once Upon a Time.
Right.
Whereas like I wanted to be the thing where everybody else would be like, oh, it's like Phelan. Anyway, that just made me think, apparently I'm bitter. No, but I mean, like, and I'm sure that happens a lot. I feel like I've had other story ideas like that as well. Or maybe you've had jokes like that where like you work on something, you think it's so great, and then, you know, Seinfeld or Gaffigan doesn't. You're like, dang it.
I know. It's like, I got scooped.
Yeah. And of course, you know, like nobody is copying any. Well, I'm sure some people are copying, but like in general, it's not a thing. But
yeah.
Oh, we are down to one minute. So now we have to do our wrap up.
Oh, okay.
Of in one word or one sentence, do you believe in the Muse? Sum it up for us. One sentence.
Yes.
Ooh, just a one-word sentence. Bold. I like that.
I believe in the Muse.
Okay. Me too. Yes, I also believe in the Muse. Now we have a minute. That's see. Usually we say we're going to do one word or one, and then we can't cap it at that. But we did well.
We did, yeah. We did real well.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I guess we can end early since you rattled before starting the timer.
What do you mean I rattled?
You try to tell them about our Halloween decorations before starting the timer. You know that's against the rules.
Yeah, but I guess it was a misunderstanding of the rules because I thought we had a few minutes before the timer, and you put the kibosh on that.
Yes. These are 30-minute podcasts, and you get up to 5 minutes before we do our question.
Oh, okay. All right. So 30 minutes total, and then 5 minutes eaten into the... Okay.
I have a feeling that probably every other podcast episode, I will be reminding you of these rules that I have set.
I think that's going to be true.
For sure. They're going to be like, didn't she just explain it to him last week? The answer is yes. Yes, I did. Okay. Here comes our timer. 3,
2, 1, 0.
Okay, now boop it.
Oh, wait. Why is this 5 minute overtime?
Because it's a Pomodoro timer, so it gives a break.
Okay. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So I boop it. Wait.
Oh, boy.
Hold on. Oh, I got to do the stop boop. And then the reset boop.
Yep.
Okay, so now we're ready to go for our next one. Oh, why does it go?
Okay. Bye, guys.
Hold on. Yeah, bye.